here's my question. Do I have to sort of acknowledge all the dignitaries?
No.
I should not do that.
No. You can thank. There are so many here.
So
You're gonna not remember. You're gonna miss someone. So I would just acknowledge that so many people came from all across the state.
Perfect.
So we're ready.
Programs here.
We're ready.
Everybody's good
Ready
to
to
go.
rock and roll.
All right.
And if you want to go up.
We have them.
All good.
Got you're going to be right over here. Okay, you're going to be right here.
I know, they worked so hard. They all want to work.
Good to go? Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, everybody, to the Berkshire Innovation Center. My name is Ben Sosny. I have the great privilege to be the director here at the BIC, and really amazing to see this crowd here today. And thank you, Governor and Lieutenant Governor, for joining us. This is wonderful. The last time we were gathered here with you was our grand opening, February 28th, 2020. I brought with me a little prop here. This was the cover of the Berkshire Eagle. Above the fold, there's two headlines here. We are now at the front edge. Ben from the Berkshire Eagles here with a great shot he took of the BIC, which great coverage. There's a small column here about something going on with a virus. But the former administration, Trump administration, points out here that Vice President Pence has been put in charge, and we're going to be okay. So I would say one of these stories aged better than the other, but the one on the left here, I'm pleased to report that it's aged well, and we're really hitting our groove here. Below the fold, Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey is working out a deal with insurers about behavioral health care. I'll also note, Governor Baker, that while I'm holding up the Berkshire Eagle, you honored Fred Ruppert recently, who really saved the Eagle along with his team, and that was. Thank you for acknowledging that, and Fred is is such an asset to our community. So thanks for that. I don't want to spend a lot of time introducing everybody because they're all going to get up and you'll get to hear from all our representatives are here today at the BIC, Mayor Tyre, and several members from the administration. I do want to note and also thank Governor Baker because while we can sort of look back at this and get a chuckle. The leadership here in the Commonwealth through the pandemic, in my opinion, was just tremendous. And you really set the standard for, in my opinion, of how all states reacted to that crisis. And so thank you. And I know it was a great opportunity for so many of the manufacturers that we work with here to collaborate, and just shows the ecosystem that you put in place, or that we put in place here in Massachusetts, really activated. So thank you for your leadership on that, and that goes throughout the administration. And I know, obviously, your term is winding down here. I want to thank you for coming out here again, and note that I got the pleasure to work on a separate project with former Governors Dukakis and Weld, who made the Berkshires, held the Berkshires very close long after they left office, and continue to do work here. We all know Jane Swift has a house and lives here. Of course, Governor Patrick spends a tremendous amount of time in the Berkshires, so you are welcome back anytime. And please consider the BIC home away from home. So we'll get you a key on your way out, and if I find you drinking coffee and reading the Berkshire Eagle in the morning out here, that'd be great. So, Governor Baker, thank you.
So good afternoon. I'm going to do something I normally don't do, which is I'm going to try to stick to the script, because there's a lot of information here that we need to share, and I don't want to miss out on any of it. And I do want to start by congratulating the BIC. Having the door open 2 weeks before the pandemic began would have to be described as a significant challenge. And you all have done a fabulous job all the way through, and we congratulate you on that. To the mayor, I just want to say thank you very much for hosting us today. It was nice to get a little bit of a history lesson about the mountain down the street. That was, and for those of you who don't know, skiing at night was actually invented here in Pittsfield. I didn't know that, but I certainly plan to tell everybody I know. I also want to thank all the municipal leaders who are here, as well as the legislators, for making the trip and joining us, because without you all, there is no successful program of any kind on all of this. And I do want to say that the Lieutenant Governor and I have said many times over the past few years that we consider our ability to work with our colleagues in local government and our ability to work with our colleagues in the legislature around creating strategic opportunities for our communities to get better and to be great is a fundamental responsibility of this administration, and one we take enormously seriously. A big part of what we've tried to do over the past 8 years is to make a lot of our programs easier and more strategic for our colleagues in local government, especially for some of the smaller communities. And the simplest example I can give you on this is when we took office, there was one road program. It was Chapter 90. And you got your money based on your population, not on your road mileage. So if you're in Western Mass and you had a small number of people and a heck of a lot of roads, you'd have to save money. You'd have to take your allocation every year for 10 or 12 years before you could get to the point where you could do a project. Again, based on a lot of the input we got from local officials, we worked with the legislature. We now have 6 local road programs. We have a bottleneck program. We have a small bridge program, which has been incredibly important to Western Mass. We have a shared and safe streets program, which actually came out of conversations with local officials during the pandemic. We have a state-numbered roads. That's also a big issue in Western Mass. I mean, the state-numbered local roads are, for all intents and purposes, orphans in the state system. And I've, Lieutenant Governor and I are fond of saying that the roads that have been in the worst shape the past few years were the ones that didn't really belong to the locals, didn't really belong to the state, and as a result, don't get the attention they deserve. And they're now part of an annual $50 million municipal paving program that we do in conjunction with our colleagues in local government. And all that stuff came from our conversations with the cities and towns and our work with our colleagues in the legislature. That's also where the one-stop program came from, which is what we're here to celebrate today. MassWorks is part of the One Stop program, but the One Stop program involves about 12 different programs, some of which are funded through bond authorization, some of which are funded through traditional state appropriations, and some of which are located at MassDevelopment, which is why Dan Rivera is here, who's the executive director and CEO of MassDevelopment. But the theory here was, instead of having cities and towns apply for all these programs individually, over the course of time, while they're trying to figure out how to actually bundle them all together to do what, for all intents and purposes, is one project, create a big one-stop that makes it possible for people to create sort of a strategic housing and economic development and infrastructure development plan, and then work with them to make that the vehicle through which we and they work together to get stuff done on behalf of the folks in each of these communities. And it's turned out to be an enormously successful program. With respect to MassWorks, which is what we're here to talk about today, which is one piece of this, we've awarded over $1 billion across 300 communities to support economic growth, workforce development, and infrastructure development and housing over the course of the past 8 years. That doesn't happen without a ton of help from our colleagues in local government and support from the legislature with respect to appropriations for that stuff. Lieutenant Governor Polito and Undersecretary Ashley Stolba will get into more details on the One Stop. But as I said, fundamentally, it's about creating a strategic partnership between our colleagues in local government and our administration, and dragging a lot of the elements of that into that conversation so that people don't have to basically play this game as a one-off over a decade. We're here to announce about $143 million worth of grant awards through that one-stop program. They'll support about 337 local economic development projects in about 169 communities around the Commonwealth. Again, it's a big part of our portfolio, and it's one of the things that, pandemic or no pandemic, we kept going with all the way through the process. And among this year's MassWorks projects, we've got about 39 that are reactivating underutilized sites, one of which is particularly important to Pittsfield. 31 are supporting transit-oriented development projects, and about 30 have a mixed-use piece attached to them. There are another 17 communities that are receiving their first ever MassWorks award. Including this round, we'll have delivered about 391 MassWorks grants to 197 communities and invested over $700 million in public infrastructure projects throughout the state. These grants have directly supported the creation of about 26,000 new units of housing and tens of thousands of permanent jobs and construction jobs, and have also leveraged approximately $17 billion in private sector investments. I want to congratulate all the communities that are here today, as well as the ones who aren't. The ones who aren't, do we take their money and just give it to the ones that are here? Pittsfield, as I said, actually received awards for all 5 of their applications as part of this one-stop program. That's what you get for hosting today, and is receiving more than $3.5 million worth of awards. Again, the Lieutenant Governor will talk more about this, but I do want to present you with a letter, Mayor, for your $3 million MassWorks award to the Pittsfield Economic Development Authority to convert 16.5 acres, which you can walk to from here, of a former GE transformer property into green space, roadways, utility corridors, and stormwater management. Congratulations, Mayor, to the team on their work. You look pretty excited about that. So I knew what the award was for. I hadn't seen the site before, but we drove by it on our way here. I was like, that's got to be it. It fits all the criteria. If you had more than one of those, I would have been worried. And I do want to just say, on behalf of the Lieutenant Governor, myself, and everybody on our team, how much we appreciate the relationship and the partnership that we've had with our colleagues in local government and our colleagues in the legislature in stitching together this very strategic approach to helping cities and towns do what they need to do to continue to move forward here in the Commonwealth. And I do also, in addition to Ashley, where's Juan Vega? Juan Vega has been running the MassWorks program and sort of quarterbacks a lot of the one-stop stuff. And he's a former executive in the city of Chelsea. Did you join when Jay came? Is that how that happened? Okay. And he has done just spectacular work on behalf of so many cities and towns across Massachusetts over the course of the past 8 years. Thank you. Okay, Lieutenant Governor, you're up.
That's great. It's great to be here in the room. I love the front page, and that it is a page. It's paper, and you have it, and you saved it because it was an important day. And this is an important day, too, and it's a bit of a bookend for us from the inaugural tour that we took after becoming elected and sworn in January 2015. We came to the Berkshire and spent some time with you then, and here we are finishing our service with a whole collection of work in between and an opportunity to say thank you. It's been a great ride, literally for me personally, to every community of this Commonwealth, and really getting to know you, your team in your town hall, your city hall, your partners in community, and literally understanding your hopes, dreams, desires, and the effort that it would take for all of us to work together to get stuff done. So it's great to be here. I see this is about, to us, collaboration, getting to yes, a proven and successful strategy for our Commonwealth. I am thrilled to be here in Pittsfield because I remember our first conversations with the mayor, and you stand at the top of the list in terms of seeking out grants and stacking them up and finding a way to go for the small and large ones, because you knew that if you could add them all up, it would add up to a lot for your community. And you also knew it was important, no matter the size of the grant, just to demonstrate momentum. You celebrated everything, every one of them. And it was important for your team and for your community to see that. And that's why you see where you're at today. Great leadership. This is about collaboration. As I said, in this room, you have regional planning agencies across our Commonwealth that have been integral to our team. And you have different agencies of government here, obviously local government, but in the state government, in MassDOT, D1, right? D1, Francesca, you've been incredible, and the whole team here in helping us solve some of these problems. And as the governor said, it's not just about Housing and Economic Development Agency and a MassWorks program, which leads me to it was about getting to yes. As one of your champions in the corner office, I would often be with the team saying, it's not about evaluating a grant and whether they make it or not, and it's about figuring out what they need and matching them up to the right program at the point in time that they're in to get them to yes. And we heard a lot from you when the Secretary Keneally and I were on the economic development tour. We heard from you that, yes, you as a state government, together with our legislators, have good programs, but we are not always successful in terms of applying for them and getting the result that we need. And we're not always able, because of staffing pressures, and we might not all have a sophisticated grant writer, to apply and know when these grants come out to be able to apply and then build up the funding stack. And so we need your help in streamlining this process. So it was really you that came to us and said, can you make this easier for us? And at the same time, you were becoming a lot more smarter about how to do the work. And so the one-stop program literally is that collection of 12 to 15 programs that have to do with economic development, community development, housing development, and allowing you to preface that with your wish list, which is something I cared a lot about, to push on you and your team to literally get together in your war room and talk as a community about what your 5 most pressing issues or 5 major ideas are about what you want to get done, and put it literally on a paper. Like, think about it and put it together. And then, rather than just like a shot in the dark, apply, we set up, and we became better as an agency of government to be your consultants, to give you feedback, to help you then craft an application with your RPA and others helping you that really stood up. And so you became better, we became better, so the quality of the applications became better, and the projects better. And also, at the same time, brought a whole lot more certainty into a process, which helps you attract the private investment to match the public investment, public-private partnership, to literally get the projects to become reality. And so now we have this one-stop program. It's proven. It's so successful. We had 523 applications from 270 communities. We were able to support 337 applications to 169 communities, as the governor said. So there's still a lot of great applications out there with a lot of good projects that need funding. We've just exhausted. We have just exhausted the funding that we have, but there certainly is more that can come. So I'm thrilled as I finish the turn with the governor that we have a proven strategy, a proven and successful program system, and we have a level of collaboration between state, regional, and local government that works. So to that, we should all be proud of our work together. A couple more things on these awards today. You're also going to hear not only from Mayor Tyre, but from Mayor Vigent, who's from Central Massachusetts, and Mayor Rigo from Rivera, Eastern Massachusetts. And you'll also hear from Dan Rivera, who is one of our strategic partners in MassDevelopment, who's come into this whole system. And so you'll get the sense that we care deeply about the whole map of our Commonwealth and stretching these grants around everywhere. Now, those blue dots just represent your community that's receiving a MassWorks grant. The white have also received grants, but just not in the MassWorks program, which leads me to the other piece of this. When you received your certificate today to acknowledge that you went 5 for 5 this year, it's because you also applied for an underutilized properties grant of $525,000 awarded to Allegroni, is that right? Companies. $55,000 for an urban agenda award to Black Shears Community Empowerment Foundation. $15,000 to Collaborative Workspace Program at here, BIC, which is great. $15,000 for another workspace program with the Berkshire Black Economic Council. Wow, that's fantastic. Congratulations to all of you. Regional equity, care deeply about that, as you can see, demonstrated today. 60 to 70% of all applications that were submitted in a region overall were funded. And 31% of the applications in this round are located in rural or small towns, also really important to us. This is almost a third. 33% in gateway cities, like Pittsfield, and 43% located in a housing choice community. Fantastic. And I think the governor outlined the housing units and the production that we have been able to achieve as a result of this round, which is really important for the future competitiveness of this Commonwealth, that people can afford to live here, young professionals, aging adults, and it really spells out stability when people can remain housed here in this Commonwealth to live, work, raise their family, and for businesses to be able to attract the talent because their employees can find places that they can afford and good communities in which to live and have a great experience. So it's really important that the housing agenda that our administration, together with the legislature, has worked on with you continues. As across the country, states are struggling with how to develop more housing. We know how to do it. We just, with the funding and the continued will, we will continue to make great strides in that area. Now, I want to just pass this off to Ashley Stolba, and I want to say thank you. She's been an incredible champion for all of you in Housing and Economic Development Office, and I want to just acknowledge her team, and I know that you will too. But can the MassWorks team, in addition to Juan, just kind of stand up? Where are you? There's a lot of you here. Yeah. Really great job. Well done. It's been a real pleasure and honor to work with you as public servants doing a great job. And with that, I'm now turning it over to Ashley to continue our program, and many thanks to all of you and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor and Governor. I am so honored to be here on behalf of the Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development. As Lieutenant Governor mentioned, I mean, we have a lot of my colleagues here, and not only do we just have MassWorks, but we also have program managers from all of our 12 grant programs and the RPAs, MassDOT. So we have so many people who are just so excited to celebrate with you the 169 communities that are receiving funding from the One Stop and the 60 MassWorks awards that are being given today. So for all the reasons that the Governor and Lieutenant Governor described, the One Stop really has improved how we invest in communities all across the state. These maps tell such a good story. I mean, we were so intentional about how we were able to allocate these funds equally and equitably all across Massachusetts. We're so proud of Pittsfield. I know it's been mentioned. One of the grants is right here at the BIC. I do want to acknowledge Ben, and I know Steve Boyd couldn't be here because, ironically enough, he's in Boston. But the two of you, you are strong advocates for the BIC. We've been proud to support you for almost a decade. I met with you earlier this year as you were exploring ways to expand your co-working space. And we said, hey, I have an idea. Why don't we send you to the One Stop? And you did. You applied, and now you're getting a $15,000 grant from MassDevelopment to explore how to do that co-working space. And Mayor Tyre, I am so excited for this $3 million MassWorks grant to this site, and I know you are too. This has been a long time coming. I know you've received Site Readiness and Brownfields Award. I think some of us remember the grant announcement where Representative Farley Bouvier, you zoomed in to that grant announcement, and it was very exciting, and you took a very innovative approach, but really showing us why all of these updates were so necessary. So thank you for being partners with us since then. It has been a process getting to our MassWorks Award through debriefs and the expressions of interest and feedback. I see Michael Coakley, who I've lost now, but he's been great in working with our staff and the MassWorks staff offering good feedback. This year, your application included a $6.8 million ARPA match, which gave you definitely a gold star with our application. So we're just so excited for you to make this space into a green space that's sustainable and resilient so it can be prepared for development by Milltown Capital. So I also want to recognize Linda Dunleavy, who's not on the speaking program today, but you have been a phenomenal partner in helping rural and small towns. 15 rural and small towns are receiving over $1 million in this year's Community One Stop for Growth round. And we know these towns don't have a lot of money, they don't have big staff, so $1 million goes a long way. And we have doubled the participation, more than doubled the participation in rural and small towns since the Community One Stop for Growth. And that really has been because of a large partnership with you. So thank you very much. And, you know, the example here in Pittsfield and rural and small towns, these are just a few examples. We have these all over the state. I know we're going to hear some from mayors who've benefited from the One Stop and our partnership, but it really has been hugely impactful in communities all across Massachusetts. And it isn't just partnership between the state and municipalities. I know we've talked about this a little bit, but it's really a partnership among our partners in state government. DHCD has been an amazing partner, and MassDevelopment, who has 6 out of the 12 of our one-stop programs, has been truly unbelievable. So it really is my pleasure and my honor. I now get to introduce you, Dan Rivera, also a former Gateway City manager, who's now who is CEO of MassDevelopment. Thank you.
I forgot about Representative Bouvier's FaceTime Zoom at the site. You know, it became a thing after that. We did it. We were laughing, but we did it every time we sent somebody to the sites that we were talking about. We did it in Worcester after that, in the TDI district. COVID made us do. None of them were as good as the one that she did. No, because it was prompt too, when she was serious, and a strong signal, everything. It was good. We didn't drop. It was impromptu. We didn't notice. Representative, we did not notice that. But it's great to be here with Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, and on behalf of the chair of Mass Development Board, Secretary Keneally, to be here in Pittsfield, Mayor Tyre. Something about mayors, they do crazy things. So you're going to host the mayors this morning and then host the governor right after. It's you're not looking for an easy day. But as you can tell by winning by earning 5 of the grants, it's leadership matters. And another round of applause for the good work that you're doing out here. You know, and we talked a little bit about the COVID leadership, and when we were coming out of the haze of COVID, we were saying a lot about how important leadership was, and I think this is the first time I get to do this with them in the room. Being mayor during COVID and having to go to those Zooms and talk about those things, the mayors that went through that, they could tell you how awful that was. But to have the partners that we had in Secretary Keneally, Lieutenant Governor Polito, and in Governor Baker, it was incredibly important. When things were crazy, because they were crazy in other states, you thought, man, is that going to come to us? But having the strong hand and government was really important. So thank you very much for your leadership during what was, a generational experience that we were all not sure how we were going to come out. So thank you so much. So we're here in Gateway City of Pittsfield. We had the pleasure of being involved in several Pittsfield projects, especially through our Transformative Development Initiative. We've designated 2 areas of the city as Transformative Development Initiative. And if you don't know what that is, that's a program that gives the community one person in one neighborhood. They're called districts, but I think about it as a neighborhood to do transformative development in that area. So Pittsfield's on the second one. And the reason why we got to do a second one was because the administration, the governor, lieutenant governor, and the secretary said, hey, can we go and grow the program? We were going to go into the year with 6. We have 13. And that was 100%, $24 million dedicated to 3, every community gets a fellow for 3 years, and Pittsfield has their second one. So thanks again for the TDI investments. It's a big deal. The Tyler Street District previously graduated, and now the one that's now is the downtown area for TDI here in Pittsfield. But TDI is only one of the many mechanisms that the Commonwealth has in the economic development toolbox, and this is a day we celebrate those big programs. And I get to tell you about how much money the governor, lieutenant governor, and the secretary told us we could spend on them, and so here they go. The underutilized property program, I like to call it the ugly property program, because we all have an ugly property in our communities we want to get made better, and it advocates for the rehabilitation and redevelopment of those blighted properties. And that today we are awarding $21.6 million to 49 projects through this program. That's a big deal. The Site Readiness Program, which aims to increase the Commonwealth's inventory of large, well-located, project-ready developments, it really seed corn. This getting projects ready for development. Today we're awarding $2.8 million in 12 projects through this program. The Brownfields Redevelopment Fund, more seed corn. If you ever had a project like this in your community, first you got to figure out how to get acquisition, and then you got to figure out how to clean it up, and those things cost a lot of money in general for the cities and towns to get them. And so having this brownfields there to do, we just did a big one in Worcester, the St. Cobain, $2 million. It's a humongous site. But today we're announcing $2.6 million in 13 projects through this fund. Very important, the Brownfield Fund. The Collaborative Workspace Program, which accelerates the pace of new business formations. We're going to, the BIC got one of these this year. It's job creation, it's entrepreneurial activity. I know people think about co-workspace and this idea that you can cross-germinate businesses working together will actually create more. It seems like a little fuzzy thing until you see it in action. And it is incredible that 2 companies solving 2 different problems have solved a similar problem set together. And just because they're having lunch together, they answer these huge problems in their businesses. And so it is not a small thing that we have this program. And that today we're going to do a $1.1 million on 39 projects to the Collaborative Workspace Program. That's a big deal. Actually, put up that. Commonwealth Places, sometimes you don't need tons of money to do big things. Commonwealth Places, which advocates locally driven placemaking, that's, making it a cool place to be and live in public spaces in downtowns and neighborhood and commercial centers. Today we're awarding $385,000 to 12 projects through this program, and that's allowing them to do locally based placemaking, whether it's a celebration or a mural or things of that nature. Sometimes just a little bit of money could go a long way. So we're doing $385,000 for 12 programs. And last but not least, the real estate services, technical assistance. That allows MassDevelopment to work with municipal leaders and planners and stakeholders to address site-specific and district-wide economic development challenges. That's us giving our cadre of subject matter expert planners, lifetime planners that have worked in these communities for a long time, talking to people about small issues, big issues, and how you overcome them. And we're going to do $250,000 to 7 projects through this program. So the success of these programs would not be possible without the leadership of Governor Baker, Lieutenant Governor Polito, Secretary Keneally, and the entire administration. The Baker-Polito administration has been a true partner in helping our local communities overcome challenges and further their unique economic development goals. Having that focus on how we work with communities through these programs, I think, is reflective in the push to create and streamline the community one stop for growth. And having been both a client that had to figure out which the application process was, and then thinking that we would be one place to go and apply, what a great thing. And then running the organization that has 6 of them, they say this should have been the way it will always have been, this whole idea to go to one place. So thank you especially to the local leaders, the business nonprofits, the residents, and other stakeholders who are keenly focused on solving these problems and these issues specifically around housing and jobs and redevelopment of communities locally. So thank you so much for that. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to our team who have run all these other 6 of these programs. Sean Callahan, you're here. If you stand up, Sean. I know you're in the back. He's already standing up. Shyla Matthews. Shyla, stand up. Shay Plummer. Where you at, Shay? Stand up. I do that because, I think it's a good thing for bosses to do, but also if you need a question, they will answer your questions. I have no idea. Sean just said, get up there, start talking. I did that. So thank you so very much. And again, the strength of the cadre of mayors in the Commonwealth. I don't know. I don't know what they're like in New York or New Jersey, but we go through some stuff, and they have been through some stuff, and so it's always a great pleasure to hand it back to another mayor. Mayor Tyre, the floor is yours.
Wow, I'm beaming with pride for my community, for the city of Pittsfield. We are so grateful, again, to have our state partners and our community partners. And this kind of success only happens because of those partnerships. And, we're here at the Berkshire Innovation Center, which it took us a long time to come to terms with how to pull this together, but we did it. And it took a lot of us to do it. And we're here in this space. And that is just one example of why this next level of partnerships is so essential. The One Stop for Success program for mayors and for our teams is just a brilliant way for us to keep our projects moving forward. I can't say enough about it. When we pulled in, Governor Baker said, "Is that the parcel over there? It's a mess." And I said, "I know, but not anymore, not for long." Site 9 has been a wound in our community for a very, very long time. It is a scar that's been left behind from a massive 40-acre site that General Electric once occupied. And we're grateful to GE for their generations of support in building our community. And they're not here anymore, so we're redefining who we are and building a new identity. So the vision that we imagined for Site 9 that we built together with Mike Coakley and Deanna Roofer and Nick Callahan and Tim Burke, another project with Tim and Milltown Capital. Thank you for believing in us and for supporting our vision. I thought it was really important to bring the visuals today so you can see what it looks like today. This is our, I know, you got to see in person. This is what we anticipate doing with this combination of funding we're receiving And this is what we imagine for the future. This is a 16-acre parcel that abuts one of our most historic neighborhoods. Mayor Rivera mentioned the TDI on Tyler Street. Literally 1 block from the TDI is this scar, this wound. But with this vision and with this support, we are going to be a good neighbor to the Morningside neighborhood. And it's also about a future economy. Yes, it was a parcel occupied by a major corporation, but we believe that small parceling like this is the future economy for the city of Pittsfield, and it would not have been possible without this support. So we're ready to build a new economy. I have to acknowledge we got 5 awards, and it's because we have an amazing team of people and citizens and nonprofits who believe in this place, who put it down on paper, who advocate for it, and it is those partnerships that make me proud to be the mayor of our city. The Wright Building, right in the heart of our downtown, will be future housing and commercial development. The Berkshire Black Economic Council, AJ, congratulations. You are really, really hitting your stride. Having this funding for your collaborative workspace is another element of the work I know you care a lot about, so congratulations. And Blackshires, the Leadership Collaborative for the Blackshires, it's an amazing concept, and it builds upon the diversity priorities that we have here in Pittsfield and in the Berkshires. And of course, the Berkshire Innovation Center, imagining an expansion, congratulations, it's really, really fantastic. So as many have said already at the podium, none of this is possible, and we cannot succeed without our friends in the legislature and in the delegation, especially our delegation, Rep. Paul Mark and Rep. Farley Bouvier. Please come to the podium and share your thoughts about what you're experiencing today.
We've got 2 politicians here that don't want to have any spotlight. I've never seen this. We're joined by Representative Slotnick of Gardner and Representative Barrett of North Adams. Thank you for being here. And on behalf of the entire Berkshire delegation, it's obviously an honor to be here and accept these awards. And I have to mention, the last time I was at a thing with you, with the governor, was in Williamsburg. Do you know where we're going to go with this? Yeah. So
I won't be able to make that payment.
So in Williamsburg, they mentioned that a governor hadn't come to the town of Williamsburg for 100 years, and there was a flood, and the governor was vacationing at the time near Williamsburg, and was so moved by what he saw, he came to town, and he pulled out $200 that he had on his person, which I imagine was a very lot of money in the 1800s, and Governor Baker, not to be outdone, pulled out two $100 bills from his pocket and presented it to the town of Williamsburg. And why I'm mentioning it, not just because I was amazed that you had 2 $100 bills on your person, but you're...
You know why I had 200?
Please.
I owed one of the guys that works for me a whole series of lunches that he sent. So I went to the bank to get $200 to pay him back for lunch.
Well, it was amazing to watch. And the bad news is you're putting a governor of 2122 on the spot. They're going to have to pull $3 million out of their pocket when they come to Pittsfield. So thank you for coming here. And I want to say for Governor Baker and for Lieutenant Governor Polito, I have a lot of respect for the work you've done over the years. And when we think about what's going on nationally, and there's an election 13 days away, and what politics is starting to look like again in our country, and then I look back at Massachusetts, and regardless of who voted for you, who did not vote for you, what party anyone is, you've been there for all of our communities. You're out here consistently, especially you, Lieutenant Governor, and it means a lot. And I think it just furthers what we all know, that Massachusetts is and should be a model for the country, and has been a model for the country and will continue to be. And as a Commonwealth, that goes beyond politics. It goes into what do we do in government? What's the point of what we do? So every dollar that's being awarded here came out of all of our pockets, and all of our friends' pockets, and all of our families' pockets, and all of our neighbors' pockets. It's our responsibility in government, city, town, state, governor, and legislature, to make sure that we're spending that money appropriately. And I think today is a great example of how that can be done, because Pittsfield, and I know Tricia's going to talk about the Pittsfield grant specifically, is going to use this money to continue its role as a hub for the Berkshires and to continue the success of the Berkshires in the future. But I see friends here from Charlemont. I see friends here from Coleraine. I see friends here from Hawley and all these other small towns. And coming from one of the smaller towns in the state, those dollars are extremely necessary and go extremely far in a community of 5,000 or fewer people. And so to have that attention from the state government and to have these funds flowing in a timely manner is extremely important. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Congratulations to everyone winning an award. And I'm happy to turn over to my partner in Pittsfield, Representative Tricia Farley-Bouvier.
Thank you so much, Representative Mark. I'm going to keep saying representative for just a few more weeks. I really appreciate being here and building on Paul's remarks to talk about the word Commonwealth, right? So in a little bit of a kidding way, I have quizzed the governor each time he's come to Pittsfield about my favorite synonym for Commonwealth. So he may or may not remember that. Pregnant pause. So Commonwealth is a team, right? And we're all about the team, as the mayor mentioned. The team that she has put together. And I look out here, and so many members of the team are here. When you take the skill, the dedication, the kick-ass ability of Deanna Roofer, and you put it together with Mike Coakley, and you put it together with Tim Burke, and you put it together with A.J. Enchel, you put it together with all the people here, that's why we have results here in Pittsfield. And knowing that, a very important part of the team that not everybody remembers is that it's not about who's at the table now. It's about acknowledging and building on the work of the people that came before us, right? They got us here, and setting up the team that's going to come after us. And I think that is one of the reasons we've been successful in Pittsfield. It was under the previous administration that we started the TDI on Tyler Street. And now we're building on that, and we have another TDI. And then, someday, hopefully in the far-off future, we'll be looking at another mayor for Pittsfield, and that mayor will be building on the successes of this team. And the last thing I'm going to say, because I could really talk a long time about Morningside, there's been some jesting about the video that I did when we had the last announcement. And it was a little bit fun, a little terrifying too, but it was fun. But I stood in one spot. I literally did not move my feet except to turn around, pivot around, with a camera to say, this was a state funding project when we had HDIP for the St. Mary's project. And we were standing in the TDI. And then, the perspective is a little bit differently, but then we have the bridge. This was the last bridge in the Commonwealth that was, that double-decker trains could go under. Opened up that corridor. You couldn't get from Tyler Street to East Street before we did that bridge. That bridge was closed. And so putting all these things together is the way that we bring it together. The mayor talks about stacking all the time, how we need the stacking for funding to do that one project for Site 9, but it's also putting that together with the TDI, with the HDIP, with the infill dollars that we have, with the work that Milltown is doing. We are building back the neighborhood of Morningside. Where I was born, by the way, where I was baptized, by the way. This is our place, and we're so proud to build it back up again because we are investing in the people of Pittsfield because the people of Pittsfield have been investing in us. So, Mayor, thank you very much. Governor, Lieutenant Governor, you honor us by being here today. I'm very proud to be part of this team.
Well, as it's been said earlier, it's not just Pittsfield. There are communities all across this Commonwealth that are benefiting from the brilliant work of Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito and their teams. And so I want to invite my good friends, Mayor Arrigo from Rivera. Have I said that right? Rivera. And Mayor Vigent from Marlborough, because they have experience to share with all of you from other parts of the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Mayor, and shout out to your staff for 5 for 5. It's pretty incredible. And shout out to all the staff members here who make these events happen and make sure that the work gets done. It is especially great to see Governor, Lieutenant Governor today. And as mayors, we don't often get outside of our own cities. So thank you for welcoming all of us and seeing your vibrant community and being part of it for a little bit. We came from a Mass Mayors Association breakfast this morning, and I can tell you that there are an awful lot of strong personalities in that group, and there are strong opinions in that group. But I think if you took a poll of mayors and if you talk to town and city managers and other local officials, they would all agree, everyone to a T would say that the One Stop program and MassWorks truly do give us the best opportunity to grow and to be successful from an economic development standpoint. And all of us on the local level know how important partnership is, and especially collaboration and state partners. And we are incredibly lucky to have amazing partners, Governor Baker, Lieutenant Governor Polito, and your team. And today is a little bit bittersweet. And we thank you for your partnership, for your leadership, for your friendship. But it's also a tremendous moment for us to celebrate the legacy that you're leaving, and the incredible work that you've done over 8 years, and bringing greetings from Eastern Massachusetts. 3 hours. I did it last night. I made sure I did it last night. We're truly grateful to be joined by you today, and I know that everybody, every mayor, everybody on a local level knows the incredible impact you've made in every one of our communities, from Rivera to Pittsfield. And it's because of strong policy work, incredible trust, incredible partnerships, and programs like One Stop and like MassWorks. So in Rivera, I'll get to brag a little bit. We are receiving $5 million in a MassWorks grant for infrastructure improvements to our riverfront district. A lot of people know about Rivera as Rivera Beach, but we actually do have a river, and we have a riverfront district. And this grant will be used for long-needed improvements around transportation, and really invest in an underutilized neighborhood that will be focused around resiliency and infrastructure improvements. And for those of you who don't know Rivera, this neighborhood is an entryway into our city. If you're coming from points north, which the governor does oftentimes, you'll know that it's a former tow yard, and it was in a really terrible shape. Lieutenant Governor, Undersecretary made the time to come see it, and it will be the home of innovative green space, retail opportunities, and sustainability improvements. And we've been able to layer and bring together local funds. We've dedicated a certain amount of ARPA funding for this, state funds, federal funds, and we've leveraged $140 million private investment from Redgate to create this exciting new place to live and to have fun. And so this grant and One Stop really got us over the finish line for that project. So I'll close by saying that Massachusetts is about to embark on a new chapter in a few short months, but that doesn't mean that the work that's been done and the blueprints that have been set go away. And the collaborative way that we've worked together from Pittsfield to Rivera, the Baker Polito administration has made an incredible lasting impact on all of us, and we're here celebrating that today. It is an exciting time to be a local leader. It was very exciting to be a local leader under your leadership, Governor, and the MassWorks and One Stop program only furthers the opportunities for all of us to succeed, again, from Rivera to Pittsfield. And so it's an honor to be with all of you today, and thank you for not throwing anything at me for being from Eastern Massachusetts. All right, thank you. And I'll welcome a very good friend who has been incredibly helpful for me, and he allowed beauty to go before age. My good friend, Mayor Vigent. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. No, I have to echo what's been said many, many times, and will be said many, many more times over the next couple months. But to Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, you've been such a tremendous partnership to 351 communities. We can't thank you enough. It is from finding ways to make it easier for us to do business with our communities and making decisions and getting projects done that we were never able quite to get done. I know the governor and lieutenant governor are going to continue working with the legislature over the next couple months to still get us more for our communities. That's what they've been doing for a number of years now, and they're going to continue doing that. For the city of Marlborough, we've had a great partnership and use the MassWorks grant on a regular basis. The one-stop program and the portal has just made it easier for us to apply for different grants and opportunities throughout the state. And if you don't fit into one particular box, they'll work with you on getting you into a different box in the same program. So it's all there to make it easier for the communities. Some don't have the resources to hire consultants or have someone on staff. So it's just been a great resource. My $2 million MassWorks grant this year is going to open up an opportunity to tie in our business community with a new housing project of 470 units, making it walker accessibility around the entire office park for about a 3-mile loop. Over the years, we've taken these MassWorks grants and compounded them to tie in over 2,000 housing units that have been permitted and under construction. So we've really tried to capitalize on it as much as we could. We can't thank you enough, and you know, just so proud to be out here and receive another MassWorks grant for the city of Marlborough. So thank you very much for inviting me. Time. I just have one question. Is that road that everyone keeps saying Tyler or Tyre?
Tyler.
Oh, all right, because I wanted to know how you
wanna
got
call
a
it-
street named
I know,
after you.
One of these days, it's one of my dreams. And so, one of my dreams. Speaking of dreams, you've made so many dreams come true for so many communities over the 8 years. We are so grateful for your partnership and your friendship. It feels like you're making a farewell tour around the Commonwealth. And I hope you are enjoying all of the accolades that you are receiving from those of us in local government and local leadership. We're so grateful, and we want to, extend our gratitude and admiration for all you've done for us over the last 8 years. You've been here to celebrate our successes and also to help us through hardship and difficult times. And, we are going to really miss you. And our cities and towns are better because of you. And you've become our friends. You're a part of our lives. I hope you know that history will be remembered by Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, because our communities will remember you. And so we wish you all the best. We hope that we stay friends. I'm not deleting your cell phone number. Thank you so much for coming and celebrating with us today. It really means a lot to everyone in this room. Thank you. So I think we've already started because we got site readiness, we got a brownfields grant.